Episode 263 of the TV Dudes podcast. Randy will send title.
We are keeping it.
Oh, so welcome back to the TV Dudes. I'm Les.
Oh, shit, man. I'm sorry.
One of you is
Are we
Kyle.
going?
We
I'm
do it
sorry.
clockwise. I fucked it up. I messed it up.
I mean,
All right, we'll start over. I'm Les.
I'm Lisa.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Randy. I love Watchmen. Just kidding, guys. I'm Dimitry. I'm sitting in
Joining us again.
once
Thank
again
you.
for another one. You guys haven't kicked me out yet.
That was so cool that you could stay 2 weeks in Austin.
What can I say? That's exactly how that worked.
Magic. So this episode, we are going to talk about a few different shows that we were having a discussion of how to tie them together. They're not quite evil shows. They're not horror shows. They're not
I found the
horrible
thing
shows.
that ties all these shows together. Randy knew he was going to be out of town, so he's like, here's all the stuff I don't want to watch. And then it's like, there's your episode, guys.
You might be onto something there. This time we're going to talk about Evil, which is over on CBS, and we're watching on CBS All Access. We've got Into the Fucking World Season 2, which Into the Fucking World Season 1 was a Fleabag-level show, and Season 2 has come on just as strong and didn't drop at all.
High praise.
We're going to be talking about Catherine the Great with Helen Mirren and Jason Clarke. And we also, I wanted to touch on a little show that I just watched on Netflix called Marianne. It was a lovely, spooky little French show.
Right on.
But there was another show we were going to talk.
Oh, that's right, Kyle, the only human being watching The Crown.
The Whipping Boy. I almost called Ashley because I know she's watching it too. But yeah, no, The Crown Season 3 is back, and we got a new cast, guys.
Okay, it's not out of malice that I haven't watched The Crown because The Crown is amazing. It's just, life has so many. There's only so many minutes
So
in a
much
day.
TV. And the good TV. I mean, it's not like I've got to go, watch old episodes of Knight Rider or something. Like we're watching Prestige TV and missing out on Prestige TV. We saw Lisa and I just last night saw Knives Out, the new Rian Johnson movie,
So
and in the trailer for it, they have the whatever show's coming out about or movie coming out about Megyn Kelly and the whole Roger Ailes thing.
Bombshell.
And yeah, what the fuck happened to John Lithgow? I mean, not acting-wise, not morally, not talking anything about the guy's character or anything. That's not makeup. Like, I thought they put him in some kind of Fifth Element alien shell for him to play Churchill. And no, he looks exactly the same as Roger Ailes.
Wow.
Also, Roger Ailes looks a bit like Churchill, which is weird.
Interesting. Lithgow comes back for Season 3 for a pinch of The Crown, that is, reprising his role as Churchill. It's like 2 seconds. He's just like, I'm dead now.
Oh.
And if anyone could sell that moment, it's John
Right.
Lithgow, who is amazing.
It was beautiful. I cried.
Like, we got Lithgow back for the season. Is it just a death scene? Yeah, but it's going to be great. Like, you're right. You're right. It's going to be fine. We didn't even write him any lines. He just wandered onto set one day and fell over. Put a camera on that.
I want to wait till that one's over so I can. A lot of times I like to just watch everything all at once. And if it's really good, like I waited until the very last season to watch Game of Thrones.
Interesting.
I waited till the very last season to watch Lost.
Yep, she timed it out so that
So that I watched
she
the
landed right on
last,
the last
two or
episode.
three. So I'm like super excited and pumped in that last year. People were like, Ugh,
You caught
God, just-
Breaking Bad after the fact too, right?
I did. I waited until Breaking Bad was done. Like, if something's really, really good, I kind of want to wait so I can just watch it all at once. Sons of Anarchy.
Well, with The
I did that
Crown,
way.
I could say that you're clear to watch the first 2 seasons because what they did is they recast and they picked the story up at a different time period during Queen Elizabeth's monarchy.
And then they went Man in the High Castle with it, and we got Sliding Albion for season 3. No,
Wait, what?
Britain from Another Parallel. No.
I got that reference.
Unless it was a great joke, it just wasn't for this crowd.
That's actually going to be my biography title. The Crown, though, season 3 is still going strong. I watched most
Yeah.
of season 1 and was, I mean, everybody told me to go watch it for the Lithgow portrayal of Churchill, but I was honestly stunned by Matt Smith in that first season and just how much I didn't, similar to Catherine the Great, which we'll talk about in a minute, how much I didn't know about that monarchy's inner story and how many world events I don't put in the same year, even though they were.
That's interesting.
It really speaks to how poorly educated I think I was from public school
Texas
and history.
educations cannot be beaten.
Well, I technically have a Mississippi public school education.
I'm from Kentucky, so I'm the smartest one
We
in
were
here,
learning
which
how to
is
put food
sad.
on the
Oh
family.
wait, there's Dimitri. He's
Sorry.
from New England.
I was
never
born
mind.
and raised in New Hampshire, my
Went to
friend.
graduate school.
Oh, graduate school.
But no,
Live free or die.
the great thing about, I didn't know we were talking about The Crown. No, the great thing about The Crown season 3 is that they do kind of this soft reboot in a sense where they recast all these roles. And with it, we really get to see growth in the sense that we're no longer attaching the same actor to the same character. So I'm thinking of Philip. Like when you see Matt Smith play Philip, you know, there are times you like him, there are times you don't like him. You're like, you're a young guy making some mistakes. Well, now with this new actor, who his name escapes me, but you know, you would have seen him on Game of Thrones. This new actor that they have playing him, you totally have to kind of like, oh, so what's his deal? Because it's a different point in Prince Philip's life. He's a totally different person. And then you get to do that with all of these characters. Another great part is I didn't think they were going to go there, but they got what's her face, Prince Charles's wife, who there was like drama for all the years, Camilla. So that pops up in this season. We get Prince Charles and we get his sister, whose name escapes me again. There's a lot of names. And they're all fancy names, too. I can't remember all these names.
Princess something.
Yeah, Princess something. But we get the kids are now the same age as Philip and Elizabeth in the first season. So it's really remarkable to get the little vignettes where we get to see them. There's a great story with Prince Charles where he has to go to Wales to learn Welsh and gets kind of a crash course in their culture before being named the Prince of Wales, which was something, you know, he's completely unprepared for. But by the end of the episode, you're like, dang, you know. If anything, Prince Charles was probably the good guy, I'm putting up the air quotes, of this season, with Queen Elizabeth kind of becoming more the villain in the family. I mean, obviously, she's still saving the day. She's still, you know, talking people down in her private quarters, you know, giving her opinions, even though the Crown has no opinions. And there's that same great passive-aggressive drama that I love from, like, Downton Abbey and other of these, you know, shows about pomp and circumstance.
I love a pomp show.
Yeah.
I have not looked up who replaced Matt Smith as Philip, but when you said the guy I'd recognized from Game of Thrones, in my head, I just am imagining a really blind casting where they swap Matt Smith for Peter Dinklage.
Well, what's funny is this actor, and I hate that I can't think of his
I
name.
want to watch
Charles
them play
Dance.
twins now.
Charles Danes?
No, I'm just throwing it
Oh.
out.
Well, and he played the son of the Blackfish, who was like, after the Red Wedding, we didn't see him till like the later seasons. I forget like his character, but he was kind of minor in Game of Thrones. But what's interesting is this guy's probably the same age as Matt Smith. He's the only one that they did up to look older.
Okay.
And at first you're like, that was a mistake. But they give him 2 episodes that are just phenomenal. One involving his mother, who the story of his mother is pretty remarkable. I don't have time to get into it here. But you get to see it like a full turn to where, you know, he's kind of thinking all about himself, and then he gets like a reality check, forced to be a little more selfless. But then later in the season, they show what was happening at the castle during the moon landing. And we get to see And what it is the entire episode is about Philip's relationship with religion, and how he's kind of like lost the faith and he just thinks the church is BS, but he worships these astronauts until the end of the episode where he gets to meet the astronauts. And, they kind of worship him because he's, married to the queen. And it is a remarkable episode. It's really beautiful how they did all the moon landing stuff. It's also kind of interesting that like after First Man comes out, they're like, all right, let's do this. I feel like I see that in TV a lot. Like a movie will touch on like a period in time, and then all these TV shows like Hidden Figures and Timeless. I can probably think of a couple other examples.
Oh yeah,
it's all over.
Yeah, but
Look, as a man who works in TV, all I can say is that literally never happens. We've never taken from anything. We come up with it all on our own.
whole cloth, Kyle.
Using the whole buffalo. No, it's another 10 episodes. Funny enough, my hot take is Olivia Colman, who I love. She is great in this, and I'm also really surprised at like how not Olivia Colman she is. Like she really, is acting, and you buy her as the queen. But this thing she does, and it's funny because the queen does it too. It's like resting queen face. Like she always looks like she's about to have to like do something really bad, and she can't think about anything else but it. So like she'll be shaking hands with somebody, and I wish you guys could see my face, but it's like. Maybe the sound that I'm making tells you, like, I'm mad.
Imagine a man who's having some beef jerky and he's really not enjoying it. That's the face Kyle just made.
Yes. She's always looking at her toes, always like, what's going to happen next? So I
just want to imagine that the queen is always chewing on a bad piece of beef jerky and making a low growl.
I mean,
is the queen making a low growl? Shh, don't mention it.
It's the snack of queens, obviously.
But yeah, no, she was probably my one of the low points for me. Not to say that she was bad, but everything else was just so great. By the end of it, you love all these new actors that are in it, and I think if they go on next season and do another season with this cast, which I think is the plan, it's going to be great.
We're getting real close to the present if they do that then.
Yeah, so I guess this would be Charles is in I think this is 60s?
Okay.
Or wait, yeah, the moon landing was in the 60s, right?
1969.
Yeah. So it ends with the Jubilee, which, yeah, I guess would have been in the 70s then.
Yeah, we're great. It's catching up.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if, like, Megan played herself?
Ooh.
She is an actress.
Yeah. One actress whose name I can remember besides Olivia Colman, Helena Bonham Carter, plays Princess Margaret, her sister.
Is she crazy?
She has some crazy moments.
Yeah,
You know
okay.
what's funny though? This is what I love about the recasting. Like Princess Margaret, the younger actress who played her, was really beautiful, and you just kind of had this sense of entitlement, like a pretty princess, like what could she complain about? So even though she had a lot going wrong with her, like it took a while before you felt sorry for her. I found with Helena Bonham Carter's character, like when you see some of the problems she's having with her husband and then with the rest of her family, like I was like, damn, you're the victim here. Like, even though you're doing some of these things to sabotage yourself or, things
Who
that...
doesn't, though?
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, and she's, a victim of her situation. And by the end of the season finale is all about her, and her sister get this great arc. And Olivia Colman gets to do a very human moment for that Princess Elizabeth character, or the Queen Elizabeth character. No, it's great. If you're into this sort of thing, you're already watching.
So moving from one monarchy to another, let's talk Catherine the Great a little bit.
I think she was actually her great.
Yes,
Like they're actually related.
They're all related.
They're all related. Oh.
This explains a lot of the...
Oh yeah.
Oh,
like
what?
it went down. It was like, and on the maternal side and the paternal side, she's related to these people. And it's like, well, they all have prince and queen in their name and things. That's awfully close.
Yeah, both sides of her family trickle down to the...
Both sides of the
both sides of
British
the British monarch.
Right.
royal
on.
family. Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's wild.
if you've seen the movie Winchester, you've seen Helen Mirren and Jason Clarke on screen before, but this show really lets their chemistry work a lot more.
This is Sean Connery from one of those newer Terminator movies.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
It is.
I'm sorry, did you say Sean Connery?
I believe
Oh,
you
shit.
did.
Damn
Wow.
But
Help me! Help me!
John.
This little...
John Carter.
Brain fart.
John Connor.
John
Connor. Oh my God, what have you done to us?
Wait a second. Are you guys talking about Terminator? I was talking about something completely different. Talking about Sean Connery.
Okay.
Rebooted the timeline.
It's
We're the only ones that
the poor
remember.
man's Sean Connery. But yeah, he was in that Terminator movie too.
I knew who you were talking about.
So here, Jason Clarke plays General Potemkin. Lisa and I, thanks to this show, had dove down a whole Wikipedia rabbit hole about
man.
Russian monarchy and Catherine the Great because this shit
Dude.
is insane.
For hours.
My favorite theme of this show is how, like, you'll see one thing and you'll just go on Wikipedia for hours afterwards.
Yes.
That is the problem with these period pieces is that the spoilers
Is that true?
are right there.
Is
Yes.
that true? Okay, so like let's talk about how many kids she had.
Who has
Yeah.
paused
Way
the show
more
for
than
30
that
minutes to
movie
research
said.
it while in the middle of the episode.
While deftly avoiding spoilers, because history itself is
Yes.
the greatest spoiler of all.
Yes. No, you have to wait till it's over.
Ah.
And then you have to. That's what
You're
I
like
do.
Goldie Warlock
I wait
till
until it's
last.
over. Then I'm
Fuck.
like, okay, now what if that was real?
That's like some Doctor Who stuff, going to the end of time just to watch the world end. Or
I
like
w-
existence end.
Yes, that would be my favorite
2019,
thing.
the end of history. Oh, wait. Shit.
Oh,
That's a little close to home.
that would suck. Literally.
But Catherine the Great, she took over the monarchy after a military coup.
That she,
that she may
started.
Or may not have completely
Come on.
done.
Black Widow.
With the Wikipedia seemed very careful to say that history hasn't decided whether or not she directly ordered the murder of her husband, but the military definitely killed him. Just
And
a few
she
days
marched
after,
the
and-
military into the palace. So,
yeah.
you
yeah, she's
And she was sleeping with the man who
yeah, she
was
sleeping
the
with
brother
Orloff brother
to-
that did it. Yeah,
the guy who killed
sounds like
him.
you guys are building a case here.
yeah.
I mean, who cares?
She
She took over. She's a badass lady, man.
she did some reforms to serfdom. She did some things that were very enlightenment, but she was also definitely still a monarch.
Brutal.
Despot, like very pragmatic, which means she didn't fix shit.
And she liked the sex.
But
And
yes,
that was
okay,
cool.
so that's what I wanted to talk about.
and the rumors about how she died are terrible.
Okay, but
Oh, we're skipping to the
So-
end of the series?
no, but like, let's talk about how many Elizabeth movies, not the Crown, but the original, the Virgin Queen. How many Virgin Queen movies have we had? How many Virgin Queen shows have we had? We're so Puritan
To
here,
retain my power,
and
I
like
must never
we've.
touch a man at all.
Catherine the Great's whole story is like a True Blood series level of like sex and intrigue and murder and
Like, just in
she
case she's
kills a
lineage
lot
to-
of people, man. And people are trying to kill her and she had many lovers openly. And we know nothing about her. And is it because of the Cold War and she's Russian? Or is it because she's not the Virgin Queen?
40-something people came at her as pretenders to the throne. Either saying that they were her dead husband who'd actually was alive and was in exile and I'm him. A bunch of people did that. People claiming to be that guy's sister, didn't have that sister. Like she had more than any other monarch, more than any other female monarch. 20-something people during her rule tried to start insurrections claiming that they were the true lineage of the she fought illegitimacy at every turn of her
Well,
entire
she
campaign.
may or may not have illegitimately taken
in that crown. Yeah,
power.
and she's not Russian.
which is pretty badass as a woman.
She moved to that country. And
Yeah,
then
she was
shortly
German.
After she's German, moved to that country, orchestrated a coup, took the throne, and then ruled Russia.
How badass.
It makes you wonder how the hell does somebody do that? Like, if everybody's trying to get her out and everybody's going, well, we could just kill her, like I'll do it tomorrow. Like the whole time they're like, yeah, we can overthrow her, but I mean, I'm gonna finish this
One
first.
thing I like about the show is how quick they don't do the agonizing thing of the TV show of like, well, that guy seems like he's scheming against me, but you know what? It's probably fine. On with this
we'll
gorgeous
kill
ball
him.
party. No, she pulls somebody aside and why the fuck is he here?
that
guy's gone.
He was like doing dinner theater shit, like hiding behind
Oh, right.
soldiers with their weapons and
Did you
stuff,
hear
like
the
creeping
queen is
around.
evil? Like,
Whoa,
Dude,
there's
you're
a
gonna
plot.
Yeah.
She has a prisoner.
But I'm loving Jason Clarke's Potemkin, and knowing that he's considered historically one of her greatest lovers, or
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Like,
relationships.
that's kind of
Also,
hot
great movie named
to
after
think
him.
you could just be like, working in the yard one day doing your thing, and then the queen comes by and is like, "I'm gonna get it." Like, you know.
Keep watching. She gets a lot.
Yeah, because then you go home
lot.
to your wife that night and you're like, what are you going to do? It's the queen. Like, of course she's on my top 5 list. We already talked about this.
I like the way Mariah on another episode had described
She's my wild card.
the start of Catherine the Great. You can tell that that it's an HBO show because like 15 minutes in, contractually, somebody's fucking.
Yes.
Never change, HBO.
Like,
But it also kind of does actually fall in line with all of the sex rumors about her and horses and other things that were
So-
going on in her actual life.
Wait,
yeah.
while she was alive,
Yeah.
there was a persistent rumor that she slept with a horse. And there's
I don't
still-
think they did a lot of sleeping.
No.
You mean like my dog jumps in the
Nay.
bed or like slept with
Like,
the horse?
The-
biblically knew that horse.
Like Tijuana slept with the horse?
Yes.
So there was a persistent rumor that she died fucking that horse.
What?
And like, but she was like 80 something years old. Like, I don't think that was actually
Is this
happening.
Wikipedia?
Well,
No, Wikipedia, no.
I know. I was looking up like
You guys
now,
went
'cause
down
now
the
I want to read
rabbit
now I want to read a biography of her, and so I was looking at reviews of some of the bios, and one of the reviews of one of the biographies was like, well, disappointingly, this book takes the high road and never once mentions the horse fucking rumor. But on the other hand, it's a great biography because it takes the high road and does not give any credence to this.
It's almost like adhering to the historical truth is good, but boring.
I don't know.
right.
Greatest biography of all time, Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. Just saying. Just
Just
throwing
saying.
that
No,
out there.
FDR American Badass is pretty good too.
Is that real for real?
There's a movie, yeah.
Oh, wait, is there a book though?
No.
See,
I
with a
don't think
book,
so.
you can be like, fucking vampires, right? America!
All right, well, I definitely had to put The Crown on. I mean, Catherine the Great on my list.
It's good.
Alongside The Crown.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Helen Mirren. Like,
It's
don't you
weird 'cause
just
running
love
Russia.
her?
Well, so was
These
Ray.
two shows couldn't be more different, but it's like, here's what you do with power. You know?
Also, that Catherine the Great's reign is the start of America too.
Oh, that's
And I
right.
just didn't put that in the same
Yeah, in the
years. This is
17
late 1700s.
It is weird. It's like you said earlier. It's weird thinking about what's happening at the same time
So
in different places.
She's arguing to Russian aristocracy that they need to stop or at least curtail serfdom somewhat and try to move away from
Slavery.
And this is at the this is so early on that America's like, oh, we're definitely codifying this in a law. Like, and you're just watching it going, fuck. American exceptionalism being taught in our schools. You don't think of other countries' histories as being so much ahead of us, so far before us, and you're just watching like Russia have this argument that like we're not even going to start fucking talking about.
We were mostly people running away from Europe.
Yes.
Like, we were just a bunch of people like, get me out of here. I owe money. I am being persecuted for my religion.
Yeah. It's wild watching these Enlightenment ideas and stuff when America loves to present itself as like, and in 1776, someone finally raised a torch to good ideas and started this country. And like, you know, Europe was actually arguing this already, right?
Look, we're a very young country, so if you look at it
Yes.
from that way, we're doing it real quick along the timeline.
Yes, true. Yeah, God.
Look how long it took Rome to get there. And did they ever?
Did they? Did they though?
Oh, have you guys watched that one? That's a cool one. There's-
Yeah,
Oh,
Rome?
the old
Rome.
HBO series,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
No,
Yeah,
not the
separate-
series. No. There's like a documentary that goes through, like, each show is about an individual ruler.
Is that on Netflix? The Netflix one?
Ah, is that where?
I think it is.
I
Sean
think it
Bean
is.
does the narration. It's so
This is
good.
in the
good.
narration.
Yes.
And it's amazing.
Like, you're not going to
Check
make
it
it
out.
narrating this, buddy. You're Sean Bean.
Yeah, he goes through Commodus and Caesar and Caligula and one more that.
Caligula was the
watched that
wildest
one.
one.
That's
The-
wild.
Yeah, I
one.
made you watch
That
that.
one was wild.
It's a good show.
Caligula kind of sounds like Kyle.
Kyle Ligula.
Like
Kyle
the
Ligula.
Caligula of the TV dudes.
Is that something you want to
I
say
mean,
about
maybe
yourself?
watch
haven't
that
seen this
show
yet.
before
Yeah, I
you
haven't-
say
I haven't
anything.
watched it yet.
Yeah.
I got a movie I can loan you.
Caligula. That just sounds like something cool. You say to somebody.
We're gonna talk after, buddy.
Next.
It sounds like something you take an antibiotic for. I think that's a little more on point. from here, let's talk about End of the Fucking World Season 2.
Now, I know nothing about this.
So,
Oh no, you should leave the
You
room.
haven't seen the trailer
Okay,
yet?
you know what? I do have to use the restroom, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin it for you.
I don't
It's
wanna
such a
spoil
good
it.
I'll
show.
be right back.
I am quite familiar with the premise, although I am the lone, haven't seen it, dude.
You haven't seen it either? Wow,
So the
man.
first season caught me completely off guard. This is an obscure graphic novel. This is not a really well-known comic writer or anything. It's not like it's Greg Rucka or Bendis or somebody. And this show just blew me away in the first season. They're short, like 20-something, 30-minute episodes.
Oh, that's nice.
And the way they're paced and the way the writing is structured, if you watch the last 5 minutes, you will have to start the next episode.
Oh.
I watched the entire season one day after work.
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah.
And then I watched it the next day.
And then when you were done, you took a shower and went back to work.
No, it was only like 4 hours
Yeah.
because,
Yeah,
like
'cause
maybe
it's
5
eight-
or
it's-
something.
yeah, it's like
it
8
was a
or
late
9
morning, or a late night, but yeah.
And then I did the
That's
same
fine.
thing the next day. Like I sat down to watch the first
And
one.
he
and it was
doesn't
like,
stay up all night.
Fuck,
That's
I'm gonna
another
have to
thing.
watch this whole thing. It's
I warned him.
the acting is great. The kids from the first season. So nobody
It's
knew
better.
if it was
I
gonna
think
get a
season
second
2 is
season.
better.
Like the first season ends with. If they had
Something.
not gotten a second season, it would have been okay to. You could have had a very fair kind of like end of Terry's do they turn left or not argument for the rest of time of like, screen goes black and you hear a gunshot, but you don't know if somebody actually died from it.
Yeah.
Which we were all like, I don't know if they need a season 2 or should get a season 2. This was flawless. Like maybe it's just the way it is. Same way I felt about Fleabag season 1, and then a season 2 came out,
Sexy.
and I was like, oh
Preacher,
shit,
yeah.
this could suck. And it doesn't. It picks up a little bit later, so they do a time jump, and the kid who had gotten shot is healed up from it, and you pick up on their lives now.
They had a new
And they
a
add
new main character
Who is
is
Fallout from
who's both hanging out with them and trying to kill them.
Yes.
Ah.
So that's fun because
know-
you're like, when is she gonna kill them?
They've normaled out a little bit from the experiences of the first season. Like the trauma of the first season has kind of grown them up a little, and she kind of represents the level of crazy fucked upness maybe that they were hinting at in the first season. And it's this kind of get to ride with your like. It was fun to put in a character that that really delineated the changes in our main two characters.
So, from the trailers, this looks kind of along the lines of something like a Future Man, but from your description, it's kind of sounding more like The Walking Dead.
It's just a road movie.
It's
Yeah.
nothing.
There's
People
nothing-
are still alive.
There's nothing supernatural or it's not actually.
The
an
world is
apocalypse.
not actually over
Yeah,
in
there's
any
nothing
way.
supernatural or genre about this.
Wait a second. This isn't the one with the kids with the
That's
elbow pads?
I think that's Daybreak.
I am thinking of a totally different show.
No, this one is not, which I think is also a comic. But no, this one is not genre or anything. It's just two
Disregard
kids.
everything I said the past 2 minutes.
In the
Oh my
first
God.
season, they literally just steal a car and go on a road trip because they're the kids that are like, fuck it, we'll do whatever.
Oh.
And then in season 2, they are directly dealing with the fallout from being the kids who just said, fuck
So,
it.
no zombies?
Nope.
No zombies.
Wait, but the woman's still trying to kill him?
Oh, yeah.
The woman is trying to kill them because some bad shit goes down in season 1.
It's a
some
bit of a
pretty bad
misunderstanding
shit.
And a little bit, they've definitely pissed some people off.
Yeah.
Damn.
There are consequences to
There
your
are
actions, young
consequences.
man.
And there's also the guilt of feeling like you deserve consequences that you maybe don't really deserve. Like, they feel guilty in a way
It's
that...
good.
It's a good show, man.
You said 10 episodes or 8?
8.
Eight?
30
Is it
minute
8?
episodes.
Is that
Yeah.
right?
It's about 4 hours. It's... Season 2 came back so strong. It's absolutely fantastic. I don't want there to be a season 3. I don't want this show to run indefinitely. That said, I'll watch the shit out of it as soon as it dropped.
They also like tricked me, you know? You know, sometimes when shows will trick you and you're like, that's not real. That's not. No, it's not.
Oh,
and
in
I was
the
like,
diner?
no, shush up. No, I can't believe that you're doing this to me right now. But, it was good.
Yep.
It's a good show. So,
And then we'll wrap up. Well, let's go grab Dimitry back now that we're done talking about the spoilered show. I would recommend everybody go watch Into the Fucking World. If you haven't seen it yet, I know we've mentioned over and over again that there's tons of television out there and so much prestige stuff to watch, but it occurred to me partway through season 2 that people ask all the time. I finished Fleabag, and what am I supposed to do now?
They got those cute little British accents.
You should
They're like
go-
19-year-old British kids,
You should go
so
watch
that's
Into the Fucking World.
fun.
I don't know if there's going to be another season of Sex Education, so
Are they
Into the Fucking World is it.
Are they Scottish? Are they
You know what's interesting?
Irish? They're Scottish?
So, British TV's been doing this forever, where it's like 3 seasons and done. And back before we had all this TV to watch, I hated that. But it's funny because now I'm like, oh, that's cool. You know?
Cool, they're actually going to give me a
Perfect.
third
Yeah, just
act.
do a
Wrap
couple
it.
of them. I got other
Just
stuff
few.
to watch. Yeah.
Let me know you
Don't
actually
take it
got
on forever. God, cheers.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to watch this role for always.
Yeah, so should we take a break?
Yeah. Hang on.
I really gotta hand it to the soundproof here. I didn't hear any of that. I can watch this show cold and still not hear any spoilers.
I heard all of Chris Cubis's podcast.
well, he's a little different from you and me.
So the guy who did the TV Dudes theme music is Greg, who used to be on TV Dudes. Back when they would do the Leog podcast, they would literally, everybody would have a mic, they would plug his bass in, and he would just boo, 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 doo, doo, while like people were talking about Batman or whatever, and he would just play bass in the background.
It was a good idea.
I love that.
And he's a very talented musician.
Yes,
so.
and he moved out to Cali to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, he became a professional child photographer.
Is that what he does now?
Is
If
he
you've
only
seen
for-
his Instagram, so he's
the
got a
children
really cute
professional?
kid,
Okay.
and he just does like
Oh.
modeling photos of his son
He
every
goes
day.
so many
There are
ways.
professional children.
Sorry. What would that be
There
called?
are professional children.
A children's photographer. I feel like you should have to get a certification to photograph children. You
Yeah.
know, like
Right.
this
One
guy
that says,
ain't a
I
creep.
don't touch kids.
I'm certified to photograph your child.
Non-pedo.
Wow.
Not a pedo. There you go.
Gabby can have that one.
Yeah.
These are free.
See, Gabby often has to restrain a child, so she can't use that.
She would never give a child NyQuil, right?
No comment.
Oh, but you
No.
couldn't write it in for sure.
It's
No
not,
comment.
She's not just handing out Benadryl. It's yeah.
You know, again, not something that I will not talk about on mic, but we once had the idea of her like drinking coffee, and we got a note back from Disney. It's like, do not ever show a child drinking or ordering coffee. I'm like, okay, never mind. No one drinks coffee on the Disney Channel.
It's kind of like
A little bit of 10-year-old cleavage, fine, but
No coffee.
the first time. Whenever you read articles like why doesn't the McRib out all the time, and like the people in the kitchens at McDonald's are like, no, we have to think through. We can't just randomly add a thing to the menu. We'll collapse an industry. Like you can't just start serving Brussels sprouts. You'll buy every Brussels sprout in North America because we're McDonald's in the scope of it. I bet that there's concerns with Disney of like. We showed a kid drinking coffee once, and suddenly they're like 3 million 8-year-olds bought a cup of coffee like within half an hour.
Maybe they hate Charles Schultz. Is that the Starbucks guy?
No,
Nope.
that's
the
the
Peanuts.
Peanuts guy?
That's Howard Schultz.
I am not the names guy. I do not read IMDb. I look at the headshots.
I am.
and comments.
You and I are right there, man. It's that
do you,
guy.
Do you
know?
know my name?
Dimitry Beignet. Of course I know
that's
that.
it. That's it.
Beignet, it's French, right?
You got it, bud. You got it. Don't tell him.
So moving on from Into the Fucking World, which is just a really fun title to say, and again, people can go back and listen to our interview with the dad from Into the Fucking World, Steve Oram. And that was one of the questions I asked him was, on set, how do y'all do this?
What
And
does it say on IMDb?
It says end of the, and there's a bunch of asterisks, like FE, a bunch of asterisks, ING world. And I was like, do y'all, what do you say? And he's like, we honestly didn't know that they were going to exit out on Netflix. Like we just kind of, that's all they've ever called it was the Into the Fucking World.
But they don't have like an abbreviation for it.
No,
like
that's what I was like, oh, even on set?
BOFW.
He's like, no. Same with whatever, Pen 15, they're like, yeah, it's just penis. I'm like, okay.
Because I was gonna say like Masters of the Universe, they call it Moto. Motu.
Motu, yeah.
And I'm just like, that sounds pretentious. I'd be like, I'm fucking doing He-Man.
Right? Just call it E-Man. Come on, y'all.
No,
So-
Motu.
Moving over to Evil on CBS. I love any show by the Kings. They're just great. The same couple that has made Good Wife and Good Place.
Good
Not Good
Fight.
Place. Sorry, Good Fight. Wow.
Little different.
That'd be actually, they could use some
Wait a
lawyers.
second, I could see
They
that.
could use lawyers.
I can see that.
Wait, what are those shows? Good Fight
And A Good Wife.
and Good Wife, and now
Evil.
And now Evil.
Evil's my first. I've not seen. I actually started watching The Good Wife because I
This
like
is a
Evil so
turn.
much.
We're talking about good stuff.
Yeah.
Now we're taking the left
Right?
turn.
Yeah.
We're going evil.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to their writing style, their types of shows. Even though, this is a change over from lawyering type shows or whatever, there's a sense of humor and a silliness that they'll sew into their plots sometimes. And that comes up in Evil as well. And it makes me just want to watch whatever show they do next. Also, this show just appealed to me. It's a little bit X-Files for the Catholic Church exorcism debunking. Basically, the church wants to find out whether or not miracles are real. They've got investigators, or whether or not possessions are real, and they've got an investigator. And that investigator is Luke Cage. Mike Coulter doing a great job here. We've also got Asif Mandi from Daily Show, weirdly enough.
Yeah, that's the one that confused me at first.
He's doing a great job.
He's
awesome.
doing great.
But
It's kind of like it's like watching the first time Donald Glover went from Troy to Gambino to
Right.
Atlanta. I was like,
Right.
oh, you have so much talent.
Yes.
Yeah.
To Redbone.
Yeah, and watching Mike Coulter's the true believer, who works for the church and is going to be is in training to be a priest, has
A
a
buff
complicated
priest?
relationship. Yes, a
Oh.
super
Okay,
buff priest.
okay.
You want to take Fleabag's sexy priest and
Oh,
turn it
yeah.
on its
Yeah.
end
Yeah,
right
this is-
there.
this is-
Again, TV
Beyond
has
hot
never
priest.
borrowed from anything ever.
Then you've got our main character who has some foster kids, and her mom helps out. She's not married, and she is a consultant for the DA, basically, or like
Those are her kids.
those are her kids.
Those are all her kids. She
What show am
is
I thinking
married. What are you talking about? Evil?
Yeah, I'm thinking of a different show.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
she's
everything's-
married to the guy who's off hiking in the mountains. You're talking about the main character.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has all 4 of those kids are her kids. I
You
know
just
that's
haven't
all.
seen the dude out in the mountains for 4
He-
5
have you
six-
seen the last
6 episodes.
episode? Haha.
No. Okay, but we're in like
Ha-ha.
hour 6 of.
I know. Well, that's the
7.
whole point of contention with her mom. Her mom's always like, so I'm real into this show.
Nice.
Her mom
Did I
is
straight
always
assume
like,
that
your
husband
husband
was
is he's always off in Nepal, like hiking Kathmandu and stuff, or
I honestly,
hiking
I think whenever she
Everest.
mentioned him, I really thought she was lying to the kids.
No, he's
Like I really
yeah,
thought that she.
and
was,
those are all her children.
I really thought she was
Like-
bullshitting.
Your dad's so cool. He's a mountain hiker, and yeah.
No, they used to
Mountain hiker.
hike together, and now she doesn't hike because she broke a couple ribs. I'm paying a lot of attention to this show. The 60?
They took a bye week. It's been 3 weeks since I've watched this show, I think. But,
Wow. Yeah. You
they
need,
took a bye
you need
week
to
and
go
I'm
back.
behind now.
Your homework.
Yeah. No, because seriously, she's got like 4 kids.
It's a lot of kids, and she's very young, and she looks like
And they're
she
pretty tall. It
slept,
looks
and
like
it doesn't seem like, with that level of squeal in the house, that she could sleep that much.
I just don't see how her age she put 4 children out by now.
Oh,
like,
I'll
tell you how that
It looks like
happens.
she found 4 children.
No, here's how that happens. Because are you guys familiar with
I mean,
Casey
I understand how it
Neistat,
happens,
the
but-
YouTube guy?
No.
Okay, so he had a child in high school. My mom had me when she was in high school. What happens
Me
is,
too.
yeah, you have a young parent, but then they also are forced to be a parent right away. So they pick up that responsibility thing more. So where like people in kind of their late 20s are like, oh, I should start taking care of my body. They're like, get to that point much earlier because they're like, damn, I got a 2-year-old now.
Well, and she seems like the character that has been raising her mom too. Like her mom's kind of a train wreck.
5 kids.
And so even though the mom
for sure.
babysits sometimes, the mom is a train wreck a little bit. And I think my favorite thing on the show is the character that I most want to throw a brick at as well. Their bad guy character is so good at being a bad guy that I genuinely fucking hate him.
He's Ben,
It's Ben
from
Linus.
Lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben Linus from Lost.
Michael
That's-
Emerson.
And there's also a demon, though. An actual demon. He's a bad guy. George the demon.
Which I love as a character.
I know. And
Yes.
he's
It's
like
actually
he's so
creepy.
dirty and creepy and funny. And when he
visual
comes
of it
over and
is-
talks and is like, "Hi, I'm George." It's like, what?
Maybe it's just appropriate for the title, but our antagonists are just phenomenal. Like, obviously, the three leads are fantastic, but your George and
Your Leland.
Yes, exactly.
That's his name.
They just carry this thing. They are every time they're on screen, I cannot look away.
Right.
Yeah, they're just great. And watching them play with each episode, a little bit explainable and a little bit this is real. They've doled it out enough that I know they're not completely bullshitting me on there being supernatural stuff in this show. I mean, clearly this is a world where some stuff's really happening.
But they've been able to explain it away on every one.
Pretty
or
much.
at least like enough reasonable doubt that you wouldn't. This isn't the thing that seals the deal.
They may change like this one
obviously.
doctor's mind in the room right then, but it's not like it's changing the world's scientific consensus.
Like, don't expect like Scooby Doo here, where they unmask the person and it's like actually some dude who wants them off the property. They have enough reasonable doubt so that you can be like, within the bounds of this universe, I'll buy that.
There's an episode where Asif Mandi's character gets to go do a side gig, basically being the debunker for a Ghost Facers type show. And
Ghost Hunters.
It's great. Yeah, I can't remember what they call their Ghost Hunter bullshit, but it's hysterical. And watching him try to bond and kind of start a relationship with their regular debunker is just great. And I love watching him. They have two skeptics basically. They've got the lead who apparently is married, and her skepticism, which is great, and then you've got kind of Asif Mandi's different brand of it, where he really doesn't give a shit either way. Like if this stuff gets proved true, cool. If it doesn't, whatever. But he just wants to be.
He knows it's real, but this might just be psychosis.
Yes,
You know what I mean? Like because
It's like he
it
knows
looks
some
so
stuff's real.
yeah. These what's it so what's the one in the show with all of the oh god, never mind. Erase this.
Have you guys ever seen that show Outcast on Cinemax
Yes.
based off the Image comic?
Yes.
I would love
Patrick
to see.
Fugit? Yeah.
I would love to see that scenario in this show because essentially what it is it's a guy who has the power to like perform exorcisms. So like say your child has a demon, he can exorcise that demon by beating the shit out of your child. So like the show is more about what happens when the cops show up.
Yeah.
And there's this
Jesus.
kid with all his black eyes and his teeth knocked out and some guy, I'm just an exorcist.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a whole show about how much he does not want to do this, and, and how the town desperately needs him.
And people are like, no, you have to beat the shit out of this kid.
I'm really tired of doing this.
And he's like, I'm going to go to jail for that.
Well, so the exorcism that they've shown so far, or one on Evil, was a
close to
great
that.
one, and yeah, they go ahead and do some nasty exorcist level shit.
We got a little green pea soup vomit.
They kind of go. I mean, she looks rough. She looks really rough.
Spider walks.
But in keeping with the King's kind of sense of humor and the way the show works, I love little touches like when George is weird, her demon that appears to her is odd. But in this exorcism scene, as they're walking into the room, they hand everybody dark sunglasses. And they're skeptics like, well, what? Like, so that she can't look you in the eyes. Like, you don't want to be in this room and her be able to lock eyes with you. And I love it. It was a sensible, logical, like the movie rule nerd in me was very happy of like, oh, I love when they set up, this is how this works and you know it going in. But it also just gives this really goofy visual in the middle of a very tense scene where everybody's dealing with this woman who's, you're Jesus, like all the shit that comes out of Linda Blair's mouth in Exorcist, and looking at each of them and trying to mess with their brains. But they're all wearing like 50s Wayfarers and like cheeseball, like whatever, just like a pile of sunglasses to pick from.
Men in Black.
Yeah. And it's this really great kind of undercut of the tone, but it works. The whole show's kind of got it baked into its DNA. The Leland character is having so much fun being the villain that it's disturbing. Like,
I don't like him.
He gleefully, joyously wants
so
to
good
win.
at being
and
a bad guy.
Yes. Like, so most of the bad stuff he does is presented to another character as like, it'll be fun, come on. and he really does have a fucking twinkle in his eye about it. And you're like, shit. he's not just going to do something bad. He's actually going to lure another character into it.
You didn't see, but in the latest one, he gets an incel. Oh, God, you guys.
Oh.
No. And it's kind of like what's
buddy.
cool is this show actually sort of like, this is why we have incels. There are demons in the world. There are demons in the world that are convincing men that women they suck because they won't sleep with them or whatever.
If only it was that easy, you know?
I know. God,
I
right?
would love to write off this behavior as a third party.
It's
Well,
don't
you know what they say, the devil gets the best lines. Yeah.
Yeah.
The devil gets
definitely
the best
true in here.
lines.
I can dig it.
I've really enjoyed this show. I loved The Good Wife and I love The Good Fight. This was unexpected and also like it's like finding out, even though it seems like a complete left turn from their other work, it's like finding out that someone you like in one sphere shares this other interest you didn't think was related. Like, oh my God, you guys like vampire movies too, and you're gonna write a vampire movie? Cool. Yeah, it kind of felt like that. Like seeing that they were gonna do Evil was like, I didn't know y'all were into this, but I'm down.
You want to hear my Kyle impression? So what you're saying is, all hail the kings.
Oh, you have definitely known him for 10 years.
That's spot on.
That was spot on. I wanted to go around the tables. We don't have questions again, and touch on, like we were saying earlier, there's so much television, there's so much stuff to watch. We talked last week about coming up on the decade and what might have flown under the radar. Has anybody got a show that you've been watching that just sprung up, nobody really told you about it, you were probably supposed to be watching something else, or you were meaning to be watching something else, but you're just suddenly like, what the hell is this? I gotta watch it. For me, it's been a French show on Netflix called Marianne. Friend of mine on Facebook said that they had just started watching it. I didn't really hear much else about it. I flipped it on one day. It is French and subtitled, but it is creepy spooky. An author of a book series about a witch, it turns out, has just been nightmare dreaming about this witch and writing it down since her childhood, and it's all real. She thinks it's fiction, and then all of a sudden somebody shows up at one of her book signings and is clearly possessed by this thing that she thinks she invented for this book.
Wow.
And it goes crazy from there.
That sounds amazing.
And it goes from being a great horror show into being a let's put the team together and figure out how to beat it, and there becomes a real like action movie turning point in the show of like, we know what we need to do and we're coming for you, bitch. And it gets this great like horror movie, but we get to go whoop its ass.
You said it's on Netflix?
Yeah,
Oh,
Netflix,
I'm
Marianne.
down.
The whole thing's out. I had a blast watching it.
I'll definitely check that out.
And Lisa, what have you been looking at?
I don't know. You have to come back to me.
Kyle, you looked like you had one.
Oh yeah, I got a good one. And it's because it doesn't really fit your criteria because we talked about it on the show like
Well, then we're moving on.
4 or 5 weeks
Dimitry?
ago. But no, every time I bring this show up, nobody has taken the Modern Love Challenge.
I have still not
What?
watched it.
Here we go again.
Oh,
Amazon?
You haven't watched Modern Love?
No.
I've
Have
not-
you watched You guys! Okay, so it's a show that came out, anthology show called Modern Love. It looks just like Love Actually, you know,
Okay.
or like all the shows or the movies that came after that. Like a tired premise that a lot of people see and go, yeah, I can pass. No. This is a collection of love stories that are unlike any other love stories we get. No rom-com bullshit. No, he meets her, you know, are they gonna kiss? That like, you didn't realize how much love was in the world till you saw these 10 or 8 vignettes that they do, all in like different situations.
So we're on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, on Amazon Prime.
Tina Fey and Anna Kendrick and a bunch of... No, not Anna Kendrick, I'm sorry. Tina Fey and...
Catwoman.
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway. No, the, you know, just because there's so much of it that, you know, you want to discuss after you watch it, but the one that is my favorite is the very first episode, and if it doesn't hook you, you have no soul. But it's a love story between a woman and the guy who's the doorman at her apartment building downstairs. And you get to see these little acts of kindness build into a relationship that spans years where, like, you know, they just have to have the simplest glance. And here's the whole draw of the show. It will bring you to tears. All right? This show
You're
will
such
make
a romantic.
you cry. No, I'm telling you. It's they get you. They have figured out the formula to just make you cry on demand. Episode 1's going to do it. Episode 7 will kill you. And then in episode 8, they bring back everybody from all the other episodes where it's just like, crying about that guy, crying about that guy. There's Tina Fey. Oh, that's sweet. Now you're crying about her too. I had a dish towel and was just like, my face was buried in it. And I'm looking at my wife like, this is real, right? Like, I'm not just weird. Like, this is really happening. Like, you're feeling this. And she wasn't even watching. She was taking photos of me and, like, sending it to all my family members.
I desperately want to sit Kyle down in a chair like the end of Clockwork Orange or Jacob's film in Lost or whatever, because Grant historically does not cry at anything. Like, Grant has broken glass in his soul, and nothing makes him cry. Like, nothing touches him in the feels at all. And I really want to know if Modern Love cracks through it, because every once in a while he gets surprised, and he's just sitting there thinking, I'm going to be, you know, just iron face about it, and then something will catch Grant off guard, and he'll come like, I cried during that. And we're like, what? Did you rust? Were you able to move?
I so desperately want to see other people watch the show because I just want to know, is this a fluke? Did it just hit me in a weird way? Because after a while, you're like, wait, okay, I've cried at 4 of these. All right, this next one, I'm not going to cry. I'm going to purposely, like, put all of my effort towards it. And then it's like, oh, they're old, and, you know, they didn't do that when they were younger. And you're done.
That's amazing. All right. Modern Love's on the list.
Yeah. I can't recommend it enough.
So, Dimitri, when you're not writing on Gabby or not putting together a Castlevania puzzle?
These are the only 2 things I ever do, actually. No, I know, I'm certain you guys have talked about it before because, you know, TV is what you do, but there aren't enough people who are on board the Miracle Workers train. Every time I put on an episode of Miracle Workers, it's only like, I want to say it's like maybe 8 or 10
episodes.
That's
the Buscemi and
Daniel Radcliffe. Yes,
TBS.
Now, I've heard that for the next season, it looks like they're flipping, like they're Blackadder-ing it.
Oh,
they're going to flip time period.
We are going to medieval days. The first season has Daniel Radcliffe as an angel, and Steve Buscemi's God is like, you know, Earth is a disgusting mess. I'm just going to blow the damn thing up. And Daniel Radcliffe's angel says something to the effect of, look, give me 2 weeks. If I can answer one unanswerable prayer, you have to spare the Earth. And thus the bet goes on. And answering a prayer is a lot harder than he anticipated. Mm-hmm. And it's just wickedly funny, incredible performances, gets real tense right around the end, and I recommend it to everyone.
Cool.
Yeah, no, I've only caught a couple episodes, but every time I turn it on, I'm just entertained the whole time.
Good stuff.
I saw a trailer for it and was like, oh, I got to see that, and I completely forgot about it. That's how much TV there is, right?
Completely slipped right
And that's on TBS?
TBS, yep.
How do I watch TBS?
They have an app, a streaming app.
Do I have to have cable?
Actually, I think their app, they show commercials. I think
I'm down with that. I'll watch a commercial if a show is good. I'm old school
I've been
like
arguing
that.
forever, like, how did CW, how are they the only ones who figured out that they could just have their own app and just show me commercials?
Yeah, that's fine.
Here's the only thing. Show me commercials, just not the same one 5 times in a row.
I would ask that the CW app algorithm stop showing me the same ad 5 times over.
In Spanish.
In Spanish sometimes. That was a wild month.
They want you to learn Spanish.
Right?
I mean, I'm down for bilingual.
They need to get the, like,
but all I know is the trailer for the Bye Bye Man and a whiskey commercial. That's all the Spanish I know.
That should be enough.
Right? That should get me by. It should get me through.
No, those cable networks need something like the Alamo Drafthouse clip show, where, like, when they don't have commercials, they just show you, like, obscure shit from YouTube.
That playlist that you've got.
Yes.
The Saturday morning commercial cartoons.
Classic commercials.
TV carnage.
I did think of something. It's not a show, but can I say it? Because I accidented upon it whilst watching the Disney Plus channel and all of my homework for last week's. Monkey Kingdom. You guys, it's narrated by Tina Fey. And it's about these monkeys in Sri Lanka. I love monkeys. I'm a freak about them. Because they're just like little humans that like run around and do stuff.
Look, you don't have to justify it to me. I
right?
get it.
It's a monkey.
Yeah, I watched Chimp Channel on TBS the whole time they did that shit.
Okay, but like, it's not just, oh, this is what monkeys do. They follow this mama monkey who's at the very bottom. She's like the Untouchables level monkey. Wow. She has to eat over in the plain. She doesn't get to go in the tree. And, like, they follow her rise through something happens. Like, you're born into the class that your mom and your mom's mom and your mom's mom's mom were born into unless something crazy happens. And I don't know how Disney did it because it's Disney nature. I don't know how they did it. It's probably along the lines of the right monkey. Yeah, but they like follow this actual class rising, and there's a freaking tribe war, and then the monkeys have to go live in town because they are on this like really amazing spot, but they lose their home, and so they have to go live in town, and and then it shows them eating all the ho-hos and dum-dums, and I mean it's awesome.
That's amazing.
It's a really Monkey Kingdom. And Tina Fey is the narrator. And so, like, I knew it would be great.
That show too.
Yes.
Oh, see? So, well, I mean,
good year for her.
Yeah.
She's going to do okay.
Yeah.
She could stop worrying now. Maybe. But I highly suggest.
I'm sold on all three of those.
Yeah. I've written them down so that I can go home.
Yeah, definitely going to have to check out
I really just want to know if you guys cry.
Hey, they all start with M. Monkey Island, Modern Love, Marianne, and Miracle Workers.
I would
Whoa, alliterative AF.
I would say also, while anybody's, I know this was last week's topic, but while anybody's flipping around in Disney Plus, don't forget to dig through, I think under the search function, you can look by the decades.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Whoa.
And
go way back and watch those documentaries and see how problematic they become.
Kurt Russell's entire teenage movie career is pretty hysterical. I have a soft spot for those cheeseball Medford College Disney movies where they turn him invisible or give him a computer brain or all that shit. And a lot of those are on there. Shaggy DA, Cat from Outer Space. There's just something really comforting.
He narrates one of the documentaries I saw too.
Yeah, he was in an episode of The Imagineers.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
Oh, that's
as
right.
the kid.
Talking about when they're showing those clips of old footage, let me give you a tour of this new facility. I'm Kurt Russell, wholly owned by Disney.
Yes.
There was some interview.
Wholly owned subsidiary.
There was some interview
nice
with
work
either
if you
John
can get it.
I mean,
Carpenter
that dude.
or some director that
Tell
had
me
worked with
how.
Kurt Russell as an adult who was like, look, you can like his acting or not, but because he worked for Disney as a kid, he shows up on set with his lines memorized and he hits the lighting mark every single time. That like Kurt Russell is this consummate professional, and it's because if you made Disney movies as a kid, you made like a jillion of them a year, and by God, you showed up on time and did your shit right.
Yes.
That's how Shia LaBeouf got so good at freestyle rapping. And I'm not even joking.
Writing.
Look it
And
up.
writing.
Like, everybody's like, he's the best freestyling actor.
What?
Yeah, this is like a thing. Like if you go online.
Didn't Joaquin Phoenix also become a rapper for a second?
Yeah, that was a whole fake documentary, and he, I don't think, speaks to Casey Affleck anymore because of all of Casey Affleck's good times.
That shit was so weird.
Bummer.
Yeah, the whole "I'm not here" thing or whatever it was. I'm still here.
Yep.
I'm still here.
I feel like you can't do that with like modern internet anymore. Like Twitter would have just ripped them guys a new one.
Even then, it was obnoxious watching them troll for a year.
Yeah. On that note.
Anyway.
On that very pleasant note,
Good
Sorry I brought that up.
we have fun.
Go watch I'm Not Here on Disney Plus.
Is that a thing?
No,
I
not at all.
definitely don't think. I thought there'd be more Joaquin Phoenix in it.
Yeah.
And on that note,
TV Dudes out!
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Electric Sweater Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter @TV Dudes. All the music for our show is by our friend and original TV dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and electricsweater.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.